So beautiful, very beautiful. Here I am now with Jacob and Tristan, and I'm very excited again to share with you. We are by the chapter 19 now, and I'm gonna ask you to introduce yourselves and where you are and your first reflection of having peeked into the book. Jacob, you have helped with correcting things, so you have peeked a lot before, but
Yeah.
Tristan, you have peeked a little bit. So your first reflections would be beautiful.
Do you want to start, Jacob, or do you want me to start?
Sure. Yeah, I can start.
Mm-hmm.
So my name is Jacob, and I am here in Iceland as well, in Skrøythólar, just outside of Reykjavik, and actually from the US, but I've been living here for 4 years. And I met Matilda through my husband, actually, who trained with her at Evolvia as a life coach. And ever since then, our paths have crossed in all kinds of ways. And I was very fortunate and very grateful to have the opportunity to work with you on this book, as far as proofreading and being an extra set of eyes. And it's been a very, very interesting experience for me. This is certainly unlike any book I've ever read. And yeah, for sure.
yeah,
And,
we'll talk about that later. Yeah. Your like reflection on what the book is about, or like what your first like few sentences of that, what would that be?
Well, like, to summarize, or just my impression?
Yeah, your impression. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the reason I said it was one of the most interesting books I've ever read is because it well, much like one of my first comments to you when I began proofreading was, I said, I'm curious about who your target audience is. And your answer, of course, was completely valid, that there was no particular target audience, that you were mostly writing for yourself. And that I found very interesting, and changed how I read the book from the beginning. So it was very much like peeking into someone's very personal diary almost. And so in that sense, it was unlike anything I've read before. And it was very, very enjoyable. It's like I said, I'm also married to a man, and so a lot of the things that you talk about are not things that come up for me very much in my life. So yeah.
Interesting, different worlds that meet. And what I hear is intimate. Like great. We'll share some more about your reflections later. Sure. Tristan, please.
Thank you both. So my name is Tristan Elizabeth Gribben, and I'm also American. I'm from Northern California, and I moved to Iceland in 1995. But I've lived quite a bit away as well. But I have my kids here and my husband, and so I have a company called Flow Meditation for Modern Life. We work with providing access to meditation's benefits through cutting edge technology like virtual reality, which is really exciting.
Yay!
Super exciting. So we work with companies. And anyway, but Matilda and we met at a cacao ceremony. We were dancing, and I went to that ceremony, and I wasn't feeling 100%. And then I was like, I don't know if I can get into this. But by the time that you and I met, we were kind of like, all of a sudden we were face to face. I was I was in a flow, and you were too. And we were like, we were looking at our eyes, just locked right into each other's eyes, and just feeling the energy in the room. And it basically many people in the room dancing, and it was an amazing experience with Julia at the cacao ceremony.
Yeah,
beautiful. So and then we met again at a yoga at Somir.
Yes.
So I was just really touched when you reached out to me and said, would I do this? And I'm like, you got my attention with that title, Daily Sex. Yes, I'm going to check this out. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I feel like all my life I've been writing journals and diaries and kind of trying to uncover my deeper feelings and know myself through writing. And this is exactly what I saw when I was, I kind of saw myself in your writing. And what I loved is the courage to put your most intimate thoughts on the paper, because I have journals full of this kind of stuff, but to have the courage to put it out there in the world is tremendous. And I think it's very empowering, and I think it's exciting, and I get the tingles and the rush when I'm reading it, and I love it. I think it's delightful. So my first reflection was like, bravo for the courage to put yourself out there, your intimate thoughts about your sexuality, and in that, wow, I mean, how much freedom are you going to help to give to other people?
So you mean that while I'll give myself freedom, others will get access to freedom? That's what you say. That's a beautiful kind of payoff, because it doesn't come from that in a way. Well, I guess it maybe, but it kind of, the aim of the writing has been, how can I describe of the beautiful feeling I'm feeling inside my body? How can I describe it in some way? I've been requested kind of to why don't you talk about it, how you do this kind of rhythm in your living, and the writing has just evolved from like taking a piece that I can kind of grasp and then mixing it with how the body is feeling while writing. So the way it's written has kind of evolved, with the project. It was not like there from the beginning. It kind of became, yeah.
Exactly. And it's so deeply personal, even just with your putting your selfie on the cover.
Yeah.
And then having the self-effacing humor in the beginning about, because I'm also 50, and so my daughters criticize me, oh mom, you're so middle-aged on Facebook, your comments like, oh, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this. I'm like, I mean, it's easy to get into that moment, like, oh, whatever, and I just, it was kind of cool that you put it out there in the beginning, about, and then it was, wait a minute, that's a freedom.
That's cool. That's very cool that you say that.
Like, to just, it's out there, and it is what it is. It's not photoshopped. It's just as it is.
And that, I like that you get that also, because that's the whole point. That's like, take away all the masks, and like I want to reveal how beautiful life can be when we are raw, and it's not polished and makeup and stuff. So
yeah, I was just reminded of the chapter that, I forget which chapter it is, but where you talk about when you decided not to wear makeup anymore.
Yes.
And yes, and I absolutely agree with what Tristan's saying, that that's definitely the most remarkable thing I think about this entire project. Certainly is the bravery and the courage to share. And I also agree with Tristan that I mean, just personally, I think that I've thought about what kind of projects and written reflections I would be willing to share with people that's this kind of intimate nature. And so, yeah, I think that certainly it's would be helping a lot of other people too, who might not have considered that a possibility.
Well, great. And it's also a beautiful, and we will close the introduction part very soon, but the whole thing, the whole aim of the writing is, in a way, for me, so it's like a painting. So it's I've just done whatever I've done. It looks like this. It's a painting, and you may do, and you may feel and reflect on it as you like, in a way. It gives me a very, like, easy way of standing, in a way, with it. So yeah, I like that. Great. So we'll complete this part now. Thank you very much. So here we are, and we're going to continue sharing around the chapter, which is called 19, Admitting to Longing. And we can also take other pieces, just reflections like you brought up. I find it interesting to talk about this, Jacob, about the rawness, or what you said, since you've read the whole thing, about deciding not to use makeup, for example. What is your points with regard to that?
Well, it seems consistent with the theme of this entire effort of the book, which is giving people an example of how vulnerable and open we can be about matters that we all have something to say about. Of course, in our culture and in society, it's not very it's not expected or necessarily condoned to share so openly about such intimate things. But I think that that's changing, and I think that's a good thing.
Apparently.
And, yeah. Apparently. Yeah. And the more that we can all do in that direction, I think the better off we'll all be eventually, because it's so helpful for people to know that they're not the only ones who have certain doubts or certain experiences or certain insecurities to begin with, and then to see an example of a way kind of out of that, or a way to develop your own relationship with your insecurities, your doubts, your fears, and to transform them into something else is such a beautiful thing to witness. And then to be able to reflect back on yourself and be like, well, how can I do this? And how could this kind of sharing and openness be helpful for me? So that's definitely like I said, what I appreciate the most about it, because like I said, much of the actual content is not maybe so relatable for me as it is for a lot of other people you've probably invited to share on these sessions. But beyond that, it doesn't really matter, because like I said, I've thought of ways that this example can be applied in my own life. And yeah, I've got some different ideas.
Yeah, beautiful. And the whole, I like that the rawness is sensed, and I like that is so apparent, since the whole experience, that the aim of like being vulnerable is to kind of bring forth how well we can feel in the body, and that is actually a cause of not being behind the masks, but being just pure. Like not being in a theater mode, but being just honest in a way.
Yeah, I'm with you on all of this, and the rawness and this loving. I love the title, Admitting to Longing, because this longing lives in all of us. Longing. And because I'm really passionate about meditation, and my meditation master has this saying, or this teaching: the longing is the love. The longing is the love. Because when you have the desire and the longing, it's when you open up to it and you open it up deep enough, it can take you over, and it can be just pure love. And I like what you say. It's we are being bliss beings. You make these statements like we're bliss beings, or we're you're talking about all of us, really. And this burning desire that can live in us, I mean, that's the best day that you can have, right? When you feel your desire, you feel your passion, you feel your longing, you feel your juiciness, you feel sexiness, you feel you're in that flow. I mean, that's the best day to have. So, and I was thinking, gosh, this book can be very popular, because you can just open up to a page and read something about talking about horniness and talking about being turned on and sexuality bubbling up, you know, the sweetness and the hardness and the sensualness of life. And thank God you're putting it out there, because it lives in all of us.
And it's, yeah, because it's what you're saying. To me, it's so funny how what makes us feel the most, you know, the best, we're not talking about, like this richness of this energy and the turned on feeling and the, you know, creativity in that, and that's not much talked about. How come, you know?
It's made into this massive taboo. There's this like fear around it because people are so afraid they're just going to get out of control. They're just going to like turn into a wild beast or something. Or I don't know. I think we're taught to be afraid of our own power, our own sensuality.
Yeah, and we have not known better. We have not been taught better. We have not been, I don't know, able better. I don't know. But what I see is that more, you know, that it's connected to wellness, to being well in the body, actually, to feeling well. Yeah,
absolutely. Because if we're carrying around like tension, energy blocks, you know, negativity, fear, you know, just any sort of tightness, you know, that's just gonna disrupt our the energy flow and our well-being. Absolutely. So that's why yoga is so popular, because it just opens people up to that energy. And you feel connected to your body. You feel that flow. I don't know if you've seen this movie, the Thrive movie. They talk about our body is like an energy field, like a torus. And it actually has that shape. There's like a flow that comes up and it kind of flows both ways in and out. And it's like a big donut in a sense. Like it was like a fountain, you know, like there's a constant flow. It should be flowing. And when we block it up, that's what causes the problems.
Yes.
Causes us to, you know, become angry or fearful or all those other things. And so, you know, that's, yeah, it starts to think the fear starts to sort of creep in at an early age because it doesn't feel safe to be always.
Yes, because we have not created that for each other, for our young ones, or we have not had it or anything. But what can we do? You know, instead, what would be the most beautiful way?
Well, a good start is to read this book.
Yeah, that's very nice. Yeah.
And a good next step would be for people to write their own in the same spirit, you know.
Yeah. Yes. How about that?
Yeah.
Because
it could become a movement, Matilda. This could become a movement where you could have the book could become like this website where you can tap into all this stuff, but then people can also share their own sensual stories. Who knows?
Yes.
It just feels like something bigger than the book. You know, it feels like there's something that needs to happen for society, for ourselves, first starting personally. That's the thing. You start personal, very, very, very intimately personally. But then by going so deep, you're connecting to so many others. And hopefully, I see it causing waves of just more freedom, more consciousness, more acceptance, more
very very beautiful. And I mean, what will that give, Jacob, if you say that everyone write their own? You know, what is it that you see that writing in this way will give? You know, what is it that you see?
I think that what that would really help with is the fact that it's so difficult for us to see ourselves and others, I think, in society, the way it's kind of set up and given to us. So I think that in the act of being inspired by your example, and if people were to, you know, write their own kind of book like this, they would be able to relate much. It would be a practice in relating to others and seeing yourself in the other, as well as self-acceptance, which I think is also such an important piece in, you know, the harmony of all of us sharing this planet. You know, I mean, when it comes down to it.
I want to connect with also it's about the fact, like allowing that the turned on is there, you know, instead of no, I put on my suit and I go to work and I don't talk about below the waist, you know.
Yeah.
It's like about embracing what is going on. It's like this is going on. It just happened to be me writing, but it's going on in everyone. That's you know.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, what a party! You know, it's like this is accessible at all times. And what happens if we allow it? You know, at all times. How would that look like? Mm. Then you have to do that. Then you have to like move around.
Yeah, I think we have to start moving around a lot more. That's true.
Yeah.
That's what we do in our with flow. We get people to breathe and move and let go.
Beautiful. Yes.
Like let go of control. Like just let the energy flow, and then you can get into that deep calm state. You know, but how can you get there if you're, you know, kind of blocked up? You have to open up. So this is a real opening. Book is an opening.
How come it's an opening? In what way?
Because that's what you did. You opened up your innermost feelings and thoughts and you put them out. And it, as I said before, it kind of gives permission to feel and to go there. And Jacob, you were saying now you want to write it, and I think that's a great thing. Write and then dare to express and see where that takes you. I mean, it's going to be a juicy flow, and we just have to trust ourselves and know that, you know, this sensuality, this energy that lives in us is part of our, it's our God-given right to joy and being alive. It shouldn't be held down so much.
It's like the happiness is kept down. You know, it's like so double, you know, like the bubbliness, like in a champagne bottle. It kind of wants to move. It needs to move. It needs to flow.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, and you know, this like I like this like the feeling of connecting more into the body as well. I mean, to talk about things like just the tongue and the, yeah, I'm just reading here. My view in this moment is that the natural gyrating sexy release of licking the mouth, feeling our secretion in the sex organs is the healthiest, most shining way of walking in life. Our bodies are our compasses. When we feel the pull, the jump, the pulse of any part of our body, it is talking to us. And I mean, and this is an opportunity to listen. We need to listen to our bodies. We need to take care of them. You know, these are, this is our vessel. And then take care and listen and love, and it's
and how extraordinary isn't that sensations is right here. You know, I always got my tongue with me. You know, it doesn't. I always got the senses right here. I don't even need anyone else for experiencing pleasure. But it's not much on the agenda in average, you know, to allow for pleasure, to spend time in pleasure, and to have that be a part of the day. It's like producing well-being and allowing for an enjoyment, and how that can be a way to transformation, you know, for growth also. I find that so fascinating that pleasure is like an access point to growing.
Thankfully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And then
I
there's
had,
pain as well.
yeah.
Pain. Like when you wake up to the pleasure that's inside of you, you also kind of wake up to the pain that's inside of you too. But then it becomes, more of a, I don't know, if there, when there's, I think maybe that's part of the fear. People don't want to feel ecstasy because they're afraid, okay, then I'm going to have to feel also the pain that's there. So also there, but that, it's becomes, yeah, it's better to feel both than to not feel either.
Yeah, let's see, Jacob. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, and sometimes, it's, it was reflected in this chapter, when you were talking about, how before, you would have wanted to, take care of these feelings and urges right away, and so that you could get rid of them and go about your day. And um, you know, to me, that's kind of the pain that we can experience. That then is also, the other side of the coin of pleasure. At what points do we separate pleasure and pain, and at what point, how can we have pleasure without some of the pain? It's a very fine line for some people more than others, between pain and pleasure. And the relationship between them is interesting because, you know if we were all, brought up in a way that, where this was taught to us, and we were taught to be this way and to embrace all these aspects of ourselves, you may not have written the book, and we might not be talking about it now, and there wouldn't be this joy of discovery and of exploration. So yeah, that's what I was just reminded of.
Yes, yes. So, well, I'm thinking of two things. I'm thinking of that. For me, the journey was, I started to when my body, because of the activity of daily routine in meeting in sex, my body opened up, and I got more curious. So one thing that I started to learn was de-armoring, and in de-armoring, you find the where the contractions are in your body. So we kind of collect scarcity and everything, in our body, in the cells, if you like, and we find where the hurting is, and we breathe through it and let it go, and beautiful, really, like through. So the access is through pain, and that's beautiful. And then I also learned tantric massage, and that's all of a sudden the access point is through pleasure. It's like, through, being in the midst of orgasmic pleasure. And this is the access point also into this calm, what you're also. So it's so amazing that there is both access points in through pain and through pleasure. And woo.
Ooh. It's I just realized that this, I was talking about the longing is the love, but actually what my teacher taught me, Kalindi, she said the pain is the longing is the love. The pain is the longing is the love. So we go through, by going through deeper into pain, it becomes into your longing, and then flowers into the love. Somehow this is about going deep.
Beautiful, beautiful way of. So like the hurting is an access point also. That, that, oh, I'm feeling like this, I want to change it, or I want to break through, I want to experience something else. So that's all, that is kind of good signals.
Absolutely. Okay.
I was thinking again about the writing itself, which of course is what I was so involved with to begin with, and it took me a little while to kind of relax into what I was reading, and your style of writing, because as I mentioned, I had asked who the target audience was, and I was able to read it in a different way, in a freer way, when you told me that there wasn't really a target, that you were your target audience, basically.
Yeah.
And that's a very special kind of writing, and I think that I was able to kind of drop some of my because I guess what I'm trying to say is it was difficult as a proofreader, to
I get that.
to know how to help steer at certain times and help express or elucidate what you were trying to say sometimes. And I found it very interesting that you didn't want to have necessarily a target audience in mind, or anyone particular that you were writing to.
No.
And I think that also I realized that as I continued to read and be involved with the book, that that completely changes the nature of the book itself and the message. And so in that way, it kind of makes it such a much more universally accessible kind of a project, I think, if that makes sense.
Yeah. My reflection is that it's like the aim is to like describe something or share something which I don't know how to share. So it's like an aim to describe something. So it's not real, in a way, it's not for anyone, but it's like a gift, So yeah, so it's not polished to be easy to read. While writing, it's been so amazing because admitting to longing. This chapter is that. So I kind of grasped. Oh, I have to write about this, and then I've just written, and it's not. I have not gone back and added stuff. It's just like one chapter comes like that.
Wow.
So it the whole it's it's probably would be described as poetry sometime, and sometime like a talking language, how the writing is. So it's like it's kind of careless to like literature rules and regulations, and it's like I have allowed myself to like be an artist in using words however I like to use the words in a way. And then you have helped me, Jacob, with kind of a little bit.
Well, that was a fun process of understanding how to help and how to assist, because I have a training in professional writing and creative writing, and that's always the first question is, who's your target audience? You can't do anything unless you know who your target audience is.
Because the answer, there's no.
Yeah. And I thought, at first when you said that, I was just like, well, what am I supposed to do here? But I just kept reading and just kept kind of trying to just help make things more clear that you were trying to get at. And that was just very helpful. And I think that is, again, part of what can be so helpful to other people too, because you don't have to have this intention of making money or selling copies or reaching any particular group of people in order to share what your experience is. And regardless of those motives, your experiences are going to resonate with someone else. And that's really special.
It's very special. I agree. And it's like what you were saying, it's a gift. It's a gift. You're not trying to grab an audience. Like, you're not targeting your audience. You're just like, here's this gift. It's from you. It's very personal. So it's very, very interesting that we think sometimes in these boxes, like when you're a writer, okay, who are you reaching? Who's your target audience? But that's, in this case, not a useful framework.
But I guess this is also my way of living or my value in a way. I have this sentence that stuck with me. Someone said who had just given out a novel. The person said, "Well, I had to like put the pieces of wisdom into a novel, into like a story, to be able to get them out of my system, kind of." For me, I don't want to do that. I want to like speak about what is. I want to, know nothing theatrical or, let's just talk about what is. We need to like share about the awesome in the isness, in the presence, in the, so it's like it's just pure kind of with no nothing in between, no filters kind of.
Yes, thank you for that, because I like this chapter starts by saying an important step is to admit to myself what my passions are, what my longings are. Through work with myself, I've learned that I have suppressed my longings, fantasies, and passions. Actually, these words have not been on the table. Rather, it's been some picture of what's appropriate and how it should look. Over the past few years, I started to understand that I've not even asked myself about my passions and longings, since the answers were not allowed or did not fit into the norm. And I mean, that is true for every single person, right, Jacob?
And what is so cool is that there are layers. So I can find more that I long for and desire. I think everyone can find more and find more and find more. And it's so amazing that it's not even discussed, that we don't talk about what are my longings, what am I. Well, of course we have not done it because we have not talked about anything below the waist. But 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 it like the invitation is to start. Whoa, if I long for something, what is that? It doesn't have to be huge thing, it can be very tiny, beautiful. What kind of touch do I long for? What could I ask for in, so how to be talked to, or like the slightest things.
and
Yes.
and then about halfway through there, you turn the attention to the reader, when you say, and what do you notice in your body right now, and I love that. That's such a hook in this chapter, because Tristan, as you said, everyone has these longings and these experiences of not knowing if it's okay to have them or how to express them. And yeah, Matilda, you just go straight for the jugular and say, what what are you noticing? What do you want? And again, like, that's what I think is the whole book is doing at the same time, which being like, oh, I can just write about my life and everything that I'm experiencing and put it out there. So maybe you should too.
Yeah, and it's really my whole wish with being alive at this moment is to kind of shake us alive, like
Yeah.
like be a little bit more awake, be a little bit more aware. So I guess that is shining through in the book, with
And more honest. I hear you asking for honesty, for authenticity,
mm,
for the real deal, and not, yeah, again, not something manicured or rehearsed.
mm.
And
It
because we have enough of that,
Yeah, and it's even for me when I just sense manicured, or like
Mhm.
mask and stuff, it completely turns me off. That it's so sexy with honesty. It's so delicious with raw. It's so beautiful. So it's almost like I want to bring up a new modern, a new era of take it all away, and like let's enjoy the as
there's
we are.
there's such magic in honesty, I
Mm,
think.
mm,
I think so.
Yeah.
And we can feel it in your writing, Matilda. We can also feel it in your voice and just your presentation and the way you're bringing your book to the world by bringing all these people in to talk and share about it and bring their perspectives. It's like, I don't know if you were in town when Nick Cave was doing his show. Nick Cave came to town. He has a new way of doing his concerts where he invites his audience to talk to him, and he does
Uh,
questions and answers very candidly, like he just not unfiltered, and he just is talking to the people. And it was so engaging and so alive. And was a, you know, I feel it's a new rawness, a new way to be really like right there, really present with the people, is to not just say, you know, here's my book, you know, take it and go away, you know, but like, here, engage with my book, and just be there. And I feel you really, like, I finally really met you now, you know, here, because through the book.
Yay!
Yay.
Through a piece of the book. Yes.
One chapter.
Yay!
I'm looking forward to reading the rest so much. And yeah, and just the freedom that you're giving, because, you know, because we're trained to not talk about, like, I love sex, and, you know, things like that. Like you say, you know, I adore sex. No, I mean, people don't say that at the dinner table.
Well, they have to. I would like that to start happen.
You know? Great. I think that would be great.
Yeah, that could be a great outcome if I get reflection that starts to happen.
Iceland is going to be a revolutionary country for this. Maybe.
Yes, maybe.
It feels like it's a good place because it's kind of safe, and it's yeah, down to earth. And you know, I mean, these discussions you're having are people that within your community, people that you know. You know, although we've only met a couple of times, we know, we knew of each other, and now we're having this really cool conversation about intimacy, and it's how amazing is that?
Yes, yes.
I love it.
Yes. It's such a like high quality life when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, because then I feel you now, you know, I feel from us talking, I get moved. Yeah, and that's why I can't have makeup, for example, because I want to be moved. I don't want to have things in between, you know. I want to feel, you know, that's like the sensation. I don't want to lock that out.
And this is so timely, I think, as well, given everything that's happening this year. You know, so much of our everyday interactions, physicality, intimacy is being, you know, well, restricted in so many ways. People, you know, regardless of what anyone's beliefs are about what's happening, it's very obvious that, you know, our interactions, our intimacy, our closeness is being affected by current events. And so for this kind of a book to be in the works in the midst of all this is very refreshing, I think.
Yes.
That is so true. I mean, this, you're really like, because people are craving contact, they're craving hugs, they're craving dancing, you know, they're craving this feeling of being together, concerts, or however we would, you know, gather, and now all this restriction. So now we have a way to open up some connection and feel interconnected in ways that we weren't practicing before. It's extraordinary that that can even happen.
And it's so amazing that the whole kind of route to this bliss and to this well-being feeling is ourselves. You know, just like you say, Jacob, that we don't, you know, in the isolation, we can feel bliss, and we can feel held, and we can feel all the pleasure we you know, can dream of, if we allow ourselves to go there. But we're not trained, we're not, you know, but it's, you know, all the well-being is right here with oneself, and it's so amazing. And how that is an access to enjoying with someone else, you know, later is, you know, it's like, it's just such a gift.
Wow.
Agreed.
I think it's perfect timing that you're just saying, like timely, because no, there's a lot of fear in the air around the global pandemic and all that stuff, and then but to go within and find desire. It's just this shifts the focus from worry or fear into what is it I want? What do I want?
Yeah.
And I saw a talk on the internet just 2 days ago. It was Russell Brand saying, and I'm not sure where he heard it, but he said he heard the statement that worry is praying what you don't want, praying for what you don't want to happen.
Yes.
Worry is praying for what you don't want to happen. So worry and all that stuff, I mean, you gotta turn the attention to what is it you want? What is your longing?
Yes. And
So,
exactly. And to me, I would like to see that everything is evolution anyway. So this whole that we need to be separated, it will, in my, what I would like to see and believe is that it will become like a springboard or a trampoline, or it's like something accelerating to a huge opening in our consciousness and everything. So it's all for like the absolute best of how we can go forward, everything not the most what we would like have chosen and like and finds easy, but it's all, you know, the very best way that evolution can happen. It's just nature and unraveling itself anyway.
Beautiful.
Great. So we're going to start to like close our sharing together. So any last reflections or words to kind of complete our time sharing?
Thank you for this gift, Matilda. Thank you for the gift of this opening and the sensuality and all this energy that's going to come through for so many people. And for myself, I want to have this book and I want to read it and I want to awaken more of my own sensual energy and have it alive every day, all the time, like you say.
Yay! Yeah, and I can just like imagine meeting people who are turned on, you know, like having society be more vibrant and yeah, it's beautiful. I like that. Great.
I have to echo what Tristan said too, and just say thank you, because I heard once a phrase that I really love, that or this idea of sex and sexuality as a renewable resource.
Yeah.
And I think you've given us all a really great example of that, of what that can look like. Because as we noted, you know, who knows what else, you know, this gift will birth, you know,
yeah,
for everyone that that comes in contact with it. So renewing itself.
Yay.
Yeah.
And this is also parts that is written in the book, is the whole word sex and sexuality has been so shamed and dirty and everything. So it's like renewing, updating the beauty in all this whole framework and area and intimacy and sensuality, and like lifting it and taking all the dust off and birthing it like a new context.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for giving your time and souls and hearts, for how beautiful it is when we mix it all together. It's just fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.